Hope you're doing good today. This video is going to be about what suicide looks like in adoptees. And this is just my experience. I cannot speak for adoptees. I cannot speak for everybody, but the amount of effort and research that I've put in to my figuring out what the actual root causes of every issue I've ever been through has taken me from around age 8 or 10 to I'm 39 now. So I've put in the time, I've put in the effort of studying over 3 decades and figuring out what is going on with me. All the gaslighting and narcissism that I went through has been an impossible task, but that's the reason why I made this channel, was because coming out of the adoption fog was a 3-decade long process. So I wanted to start off with some pictures because pictures tell a story. So this is me. I'm a young boy, and this is obviously my son. What I didn't have was genetic mirroring. So obviously you see these big eyebrows. I was very, very, very happy as a kid. I was very extroverted, and pictures tell a story, but they also kind of tell a lie, because who wants to take pictures when they're sad? Do you want to take pictures at your worst moments or not? So that's like the whole thing about pictures and adopted kids. When they get adopted and find their forever home, they look very happy, and then they're labeled as lucky. And if they have any issues with it, they're labeled as ungrateful. So it's like we're kind of put in a box and gaslit by society and in our own homes. And I'd never had a safe place to talk about my adoption. And moving on, this is 89. So my parents were, that's my dad. Like, he was a good dad when I was young. He was always there for me. He was always there for my games. The only issue is when issues started to come up, like, do you see anybody else that is of a different color than white? Like, and this is a recurring theme. Like, I'm light-skinned Latino, and I was the only Latino. This is in California, I think. And there's just like, this is a recurring thing. I'm the only Latino in everywhere that I went for, and this is just starting to cause me psychological issues. And when I started asking about my race, if you watched any of my other videos, when I started asking what my ethnicity is, people started bringing it up when I was really young. They're like, what's your ethnicity? I'm like, I don't know. And I went and asked my mom, and she said, you are American. So I was always confused because I saw white and black, and I was just extremely confused. So this is when I moved to Georgia. As you can see, I am right here, and I am the only brown kid. There's no other race other than white, and there's no black kids, there's no Mexican kids, there's no Asians, there's no nothing. So this is like, if I have any recommendation of transracial adoption, do not put your kids where they are literally the only ethnicity that they're surrounded by. Because I started asking questions around this age about my adoption, about why my mom didn't want me, about what race am I, and I was lied to. I was basically gaslit. And I know my parents love me. That is a fact. I'm very aware that they love me and they wanted the best for me. They just did not have the education and the tools and the skills to raise a different race adopted child. And I'm telling this experience, so this is educating other parents on the damage that this caused me and what suicide looks like. Because this is when I started feeling suicidal. I started feeling very, very, very bad about my ethnicity, my shame around being Latino. I thought I was white. Everybody told me I'm white. I acted white, whatever that means. I didn't have an accent. I didn't have anybody to mirror off me that wasn't white. I just was surrounded by a race of white people and an ethnicity that wasn't mine. So this is soccer. That's me. I mean, I'm very light skinned, so it was very confusing. I thought that I was gray around middle school. I thought that I was gray. I would be asking everybody, what am I, whenever, and nobody would be able to tell me. Everybody said, you're white, man, you're white. So this was even more confusing because I know I'm not white. I know I'm American, and there's white and black in Georgia, and there's very, very, very few Latinos because it's a very racist place. Like, the blacks stick together and the white people stick together. But, you know, obviously, you know, my black friends, they had white friends. It's not all white or black. It's not like prison. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying, like, what I had was I was Latino. I had to deal with everybody around me looking like nothing like me. And then when I went home, I had to deal with a white family. And if you don't understand what the missing pieces of genetic mirroring, the few Mexican kids and white kids that I knew, they may have been like one of the few Mexican kids in the community, but when they went back to their house, they had genetic mirroring to go off of, and counsel and things, like all these questions about race. And it may have been hard for them, but like they had some sort of foundation in mirroring to bounce questions off of them. I literally would go back to my parents and it would be white people all around me, and then I would literally be the only Latino. And then I'd go back to my family, which obviously they love me, they adopted me, they cared for me since I was a baby, and now they're saying that I'm American and I'm just like everybody else. And this started causing massive issues in my psychology and depression. Thank you, Nico. And this is the beginning of my suicide and suicidal thoughts. So this is what adoption fog looks like. You know, I was a very happy kid until I started getting around this age. And this is of me smiling, but I was extremely depressed. This is around my age where I started drinking at age 14 to self-medicate, and it got worse because the more I started to drink, the more I was labeled, you have alcohol dependence order. And then I got punished for it, and I was sent to military school. And then I got sent to military school. So this made me even more depressed. And all these pictures, I'm smiling. So my point is, pictures of adopted children tell that second of their life. And you're probably the same watching this. If you take a picture, you're probably smiling. But I am trying to educate people from now that I moved outside of adoption fog, that in these pictures I was already planning my suicide and planning my death and drinking at every chance that I get. I would drink in my basement full gallons of alcohol, and then I was told that I'm the problem. I have false expectations of how I'm supposed to live, so I became extremely withdrawn. I started getting all kinds of issues, agoraphobia. I wouldn't leave my house. I still have bouts of agoraphobia today. I'm still a huge introvert, and I hate that about me because I know that it's not really me, that I've been trained by society and by good and well-intentioned people that I am lucky for being adopted, and I am ungrateful if I have any sort of negative feeling towards it. So I really wish, if anybody could take anything away from this video, is that if you have a transracial adopted child, race matters to them, even if it doesn't matter to you. Racism is real. If you've never experienced racism, I challenge you to go by yourself into an all black church, and all, whatever your race is, go into an all, just start at a church, and then don't even talk to anybody, just sit there and feel what it's like. Just if you feel fine, that's great. If you feel uncomfortable, just see how you feel, because for me, my entire childhood was just sitting around people that don't look like me, being confused and lost, and then being told that I'm the problem. So looking back, if anybody is adopting outside of their race, please get them around people that look like them. Please get them around other adoptees that can identify with them, because I was such deep in adoption fog that if you sat me down and asked me what's wrong, I couldn't tell you. And that's why I'm making these videos, because I needed somebody to sit me down and say, this is what causes, if you are an adopted child that is not the same race as your family, and you feel this way, you have stomach issues, you have depression, you have anxiety, you have suicidal thoughts, being separated from your biological mother at birth, you cannot remember it, but your body and nervous system can recall it. It can cause PTSD, it can cause depression, it can cause all sorts of confusing questions, and then you're gaslit by well-intentioned people to say that you're being ungrateful. And that's why I do believe a lot of adoptees will still say that adoption was nothing but lucky. And, you know, that's my video for today. My son probably needs attention. I hope you guys have a good day. And please be aware of racial differences in the adopted community, because race is a very, 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 very vital and important need of an adopted child that is of a different race.